Like you need to sing, Lisa. Oh, that's a good idea. Continue, get your food. Please be comfortable. I know we've been here a long time. I don't want to stop anybody from getting your snack on. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate the invitation. I am out of my jurisdiction by about 3 miles. My boss knows I'm here, so it's okay. I was obviously invited by my wonderful sister, Lita, but I was adopted by the Amori family about 20 years ago when I first started at the police department. They were one of the first families that I met, and they took me in as a daughter and probably made the first 10 years of my career livable. Just with their friendship, so I appreciate being able to be here. I think this is incredibly important, not only as a police officer, but as a mother. I used to just present these. These were my go-to presentations. I teach DARE to 6th graders. And I go into the 6th grades and I say, make good decisions and don't smoke and don't do drugs and be stress-free, yay, rah, and it's a big cheering thing, right? It is, yay, dare. And then they go on to 7th grade and forget Officer Leslie, and the real world hits, right? And this was all I used to talk about, were these narcotics, and these are like, this is the textbook, right? This is the book. And then I take the hookah in, and my friends, they told me when I came down here, you're taking the hookah presentation to the Chaldean church? You're gonna do that? And I said, yeah, because we have to talk about this, right? We have to talk about this. And it's like Iman said, it's like Judge Davis said, we have to talk about this. And even if it's accepted, even if my grandfather and my grandfather's grandfather did this, we still have to talk about it, because if we don't, then we remain ignorant. All right, so yes, I'm going to bring this here, and you can take a look at it. I can tell you that an hour of smoking hookah is like smoking 20 cigarettes, and I can tell you that the studies now are saying that hookah is killing our kids. But that's for you to decide, right? But I can show you. But what I think is really important to show you are the next 2 tables, because that stuff up until a year ago, I didn't know about, and I've been a cop for 20 years. That stuff on that table is killing our kids. This, do you know what this is? You guys know what this is? What is it? It's a jewel. This is going to start killing our kids. We have to talk about it. But to talk about it, we have to know what it is, right? We have to stay educated. I'm like having a tail. This is a jewel. Up until a year ago, I didn't know what this was. I didn't know that I had 6th graders hiding it in their sleeves and smoking during class. Like this. I didn't know that, because I was talking about hookah and the book and go dare, and I didn't have any grip on the real world, right? Now I know. Kids, you know what this is. You've seen this for years now, right? Parents, have you ever seen one of these up close and personal? If you had, it was on accident, right? Or you found it in a backpack, because that's how I got this one. I found it, well, I didn't find it. My best friend found it in her daughter's backpack, and she called me, said, Leslie, can you come over? I said, what's wrong? She says, I found a weird USB port in her drive in my daughter's backpack. And I looked at it, I said, I don't know what that is. I've been a cop for 20 years, I didn't know what that was. So I started to do research, and I started to know, yes, this is a jewel, this is a vape pen. I vape out of this. This is called a pod. This cost about $5 out of my buddy's backpack at Eisenhower. What's in this? Do you guys know? Do you know what's in this? My kids, where are you? What's in it? Do you know? There is nicotine. There's actually more nicotine in this than in a pack of cigarettes. A pack of cigarettes, you might have 0.2% nicotine. These have 3 to 5% nicotine in them. What's that nicotine mixed with? No. You think there's an ingredients list on the package? Nope. Where are we buying them? At our party stores and at gas stations. FDA approved? Nope. We have kids that are smoking them like they're candy, thinking it's okay because we don't talk about it. All right, so now You guys probably know kids that smoke these and they have nicotine addictions now, and they've never smoked a cigarette in their whole entire life, because who smokes cigarettes? Nobody smokes cigarettes anymore. Gross. Right? But we didn't know to talk about this. And what we don't know to talk about, we can't confront. We have to talk about it from the ground up, right? These jewels are reloadable. These pods are reloadable. All of them are sold. We've seen 1 million of them sold at our vape stores or gas stations. And yeah, maybe it's just glycerin and nicotine, and we'll deal with that later, but they're reloadable. You know how I found that out, parents? I found it out on YouTube because I Googled it. And it is insanely easy to reload these with anything I want to reload them with. And that includes heroin. It includes ecstasy. It includes LSD. All right? Anything that'll mix with glycerin oil can be vaped out of a jewel. Just like this in class. You think that's a problem, isn't it? That's going to start killing our kids, because when nicotine's not enough, and these are $5 a piece out of my buddy's backpack at Eisenhower, and I don't know what I'm putting in my body. But in 4th hour, I start to nod out, and nobody knows what's going on. And in gym, I stop breathing, and nobody knows why. We better have talked about this, all right? Because I'm tired of dead kids, tired of it. Tired of having to go to parents' houses, parents like you, and say, we found your child dead. 21, 22, 25 years old. I just this summer had a DARE kid from my first year at DARE overdose on heroin and die. I had to go to his parents and say, remember me, I was his DARE officer. I'm sorry he's dead. Could I have done anything to stop it? Maybe. Could I have educated my community better? Probably. And that's what I'm doing now, and that's why thank you for having me here, because we have to talk about this. I said, a year ago, I didn't know about this stuff. My best friend brought me this. Another friend of mine brought me this. It's a hair tie. It's a hair tie. She said, I want you to have this. I said, oh, thanks, I need one. Right? My hair was down, I need one. She goes, they found that in my son's bedroom when he overdosed and died on heroin. Excuse me? It's a hair tie. He said, my son was so aware that I was going to ask questions that if I had found latex or a belt in his room, I would have known he was using. So to tie his veins off, he was using hair ties. Wow, right? That's what told me I needed to put this display together, because I'm a mom and I have a little girl. You have 3 and she has hair ties, right? Addicts know what to do and what not to do, what raises flags and what doesn't, right? But if we don't know what questions to ask, if I don't know what they might or might not be using, I'm walking around with blinders on and I'm uninformed. Right, so that's what this display is about now. Not just jewels, but I've got diversion safes, and you can feel free to come up here when we're done and take a look at these. All of these are readily available on Amazon. What? That's magic. I do magic. This is a diversion safe. This actual one I took off of a 9th grader. But if I didn't know to look for that, right, until I know that this is a problem, it's just a water bottle. Parents, if you have a suspicion that your child is doing something or hanging with people, or their personalities are changing, or something is wrong, you know as parents something's wrong. Start to investigate, right? Start to ask those questions. Iman said, can we stop it? I don't know, can we stop it? But we can educate ourselves, and we might be able to help, right? If we can talk about it. You see that? $7, Amazon, they delivered it right to the police department. If we can talk about it, we might at least start the conversation, do you need help? We have to be able to talk about it. All of these things, like I said, are readily available on the open market. Most of them I bought at the mall. When you come up to the table, if you want to take a look, I'll explain all of them. I don't really want to go through each one individually because I definitely don't want to give the kids any ideas on where to shop and what to buy. But parents, please come up. This board specifically, These are things that I've taken out of cars, out of backpacks, off of people, that we are seeing emerging in our community. Let me see that. I don't know if you can see that. This is a pipe with a vial hidden in a permanent marker. Right? Everything can give us clues, but we have to be able to look. We have to be willing to talk about it and ask questions about it. That's what I'm here for, right? I am your friend. I am family, but I'm also your friend, and you can call me. And even though I'm not your police officer here in Sterling Heights or Utica, I am always available to you, my family, to answer questions and help. So please feel free to call me. If you find something in your kid's backpack and you don't know what it is, ask. Start that conversation. They're going to give you a load, right? They're going to give you, oh, Mom, that's not mine. They're lying, right? They're lying. If you don't know what it is, call me. And if I don't know what it is, we'll find out together. And maybe I'll take it and I'll put it in my presentation for next time. Ask questions. I'm tired of cleaning up dead kids. I know you guys are tired of hearing of people, families burying loved ones. We can do this together, because really that's all we have. Family is all we've got, and together we can do this. We can put a stop to this, or at least slow it down. Right? What questions do you have? What can I help you with now that I'm right here? Yes, sir.
What's the difference between cigarettes and e-cigarettes?
Oh, that's a really good question. So cigarettes are a plant material, right? They grow cigarettes up and they cut them down and they roll them and smoke. It's tobacco. E-cigarettes are a chemical that have the nicotine in it, but it doesn't have a plant material in it. Okay? But what's that nicotine mixed with in the e-cigarette? Do we know? We don't really know.
Yeah, I have another question. How does the hair tie contain drugs?
It doesn't. It doesn't. That's something that's probably a little older than you and I should discuss. It doesn't. It's a signal. It's a signal that the person that has it might be using drugs.
And so I also shows that e-cigarettes kind of like help a person to not do cigarettes anymore.
Oh, that's good. You guys, have we heard that? E-cigarettes, nobody heard that? It's a little voice up front. I heard that e-cigarettes help people quit smoking.
I've heard that. Yeah.
It's very sweet, isn't it?
Not true.
Mm-hmm. That's how they were supposed to. And that's how the people that created them brought them to us. We're going to help you quit smoking. But now it is. It's terrible. And now I've got a whole generation of kids addicted to nicotine that have never smoked a cigarette in their life. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You said we can put a stop to it.
I'm sorry?
How can you stop it?
We have to work as a community. You can't put it, I can't do it, you can't do it, you can't, we have to do it together, right? How do we stop it in the schools? That's a great question, and I think we need to ask somebody from the schools that, right? We talked about drug dogs, somebody mentioned drug dogs. We are not currently allowed to bring our drug dogs into Utica Community Schools. We train there occasionally, but we do not do drug sweeps while kids are there. We need to work on that. I don't know where that comes from. That's way above my pay grade. I don't know if that comes from the community demanding it, if it comes from students demanding it, I don't know. But we have to work together to make that happen. It's not that we don't want to. Does that make sense? You have to watch what Yes. Yes, sir.
I remember last year for people, they brought in edibles.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're like brownies. And use them to bring them into the bathroom in class. I don't think it was already.
No, probably not. That's a great question. What you go to? What? I don't tell me what school, but okay, middle or high school? Middle school. So he said that was it last year? Somebody brought pot brownies in the middle school. Moms, I know.
More now than I think. Like we learned about Jules last year. She saw somebody doing it in the bathroom. That was the first time I ever heard about. I'm like, what is Jewel? And then she told me. Luckily, she was smart enough to walk out. But like, I'm hearing all these things that I don't even know. Like, they know more than we do.
They do.
How are we supposed
Guys,
to?
this is being recorded, so you're gonna have side conversations with all respect. Let's have them outside.
So how are we, like, okay, now I don't buy any of that water. So obviously if I see it in one of my daughter's backpacks, I'm like, wait a minute, where did the water from? But they know more of this stuff because they're introduced to it at school or they hear about it. But for us not knowing, like I said, I've never seen a Jewel post until yesterday, but it was an adult that had it.
Right.
Fine. She heard about it last year, and when I heard about it, I was like, whatever. So those are the things we can do. I don't buy iced tea. So that's another clue for me now. If I see my daughter drinking iced tea, and well, that kind, then I'll be like, wait a minute, I don't buy that. Where'd you get it from? Then I'll know to look. But what did he, a pop brownie? So are those the ones laced with?
So that's a big thing in our area now. When we talked earlier about the legalization of marijuana, and I have my own opinion on that. I'm not going to share it with you because I don't think that's my place. But the edibles are THC from the marijuana plant infused into the food.
Well, yeah, okay. So
Right?
that's what pop brownies are now? Okay, so now I know.
We are finding, it's called sugar. We just found it in Troy this summer. Found a mason jar full of a white powder, and they tested it, and it was 99.6% pure THC. What they had done was they distilled the THC out of the marijuana plant, okay? And they distilled it down into a powder. And that powder is so strong that, you know, if you rolled a gummy bear in it and gave it to a child, they'd most likely be hospitalized because of the strength of that THC. What else is a white powder? And everything. Fentanyl. You know, we know that fentanyl kills people. Heroin can be a white powder. Cocaine can be a white powder. We're going to have people overdosing and dying on THC. That's a scary thought to me. You know, we grew up in a world where if somebody smoked a marijuana cigarette, it was 6% THC, and they sat on the couch and ate some Cheetos, and that was the extent of it. But today, if you eat a gummy bear rolled in 99% pure THC, the likelihood of ending up in the hospital with trouble breathing, with psychotic episodes, with hallucinations is very high. It's a different marijuana. Because it's so strong. It's kind of like if you're prescribed Adderall or Xanax for a disorder, but you take too much of it, it has the opposite effect, right? Or if somebody takes it that isn't doesn't have that disorder, THC is having much the same effect on people.
So the THC is white powder?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When it's distilled down that far. Now, if it's distilled down to about 80%, it looks more like a wax. They call it a dab. Teenagers, kids, we know what dab is, right? Dab. I can't believe I just dabbed on camera. Do you know where that came from? No? Okay. Marijuana, it's got oil in it, right? They distill it down. The THC gets very strong. They can distill it to a wax. It gets about 60-70% pure THC. It's real gummy. It's real sticky. Okay, yeah. So they'll drip it onto these silicone baking mats. Moms make cookies on these, right? Bigger ones. They'll drip it on here because it doesn't stick. Then they roll it. We call them boogers. It's nice. And they'll smoke these boogers, right? Ew. And the smoke that comes out of these dabs is so strong it always makes them cough. So this is where it came from. They light the dab and they go. It's a drug reference, but because football player does it in the end zone, it's okay, right? But you were saying, you know, what our kids are exposed to in music and what our kids are exposed to in culture. They don't know that dabbing is a drug reference, but it is. It's a reference to very strong THC. What other questions? Yes, sir. I feel like I need to have a dare class for you.
Okay, so I heard on the news that on this debate, this girl lost a debate in her school, like for class president. And after the day, she brought brownies in that had drugs in it.
Okay.
Like, how can we do to stop that?
How do we stop that? That's a great question. As one of her classmates, how would you stop it?
I would be kind of suspicious because she got angry.
Okay.
I mean, I would kind of not be suspicious, like she's accepting her defeat.
Okay.
The other girl is better than her.
But she brought hot brownies in?
Yeah, but how would we know this?
How would we notice it? If all your classmates start acting goofy after they eat the brownies? But what would you do? Would you just keep it yourself, or would you tell an adult? Yeah, good. And that's what you do to stop it. You tell an adult, you tell a teacher, and then the teacher investigates, and then they call the police, and we test the brownies, and it goes from there. But it starts with you, right?
How
And we're not even talking about if all the adults are going to handle this.
What
It starts with you
what
guys.
happens with that water bottle? That's just
I drank it.
that was like the only water
First. What other questions? I don't want to keep you. I feel like I could talk. Literally, guys, I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours. But it may not apply to everybody. I want to have one-on-one conversations with you. Please, like I said, don't think that because I don't belong to your jurisdiction or to your church that you can't call me. You can always call me. Ask questions. Yes. THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinoid. Say that 3 times fast. It's the active ingredient in marijuana, the one that affects your brain. Do you guys know that THC affects your brain much like alcohol does? It affects the same nerve centers in your brain. God, it's just a little stronger. Yeah. All right. What other questions? Yes, ma'am.
There's a gentleman who said, like, how to talk with schools. Principals tell me all the time at staff meetings that Chaldean parents don't come to conferences, don't come to open house. We want to hear from them. But, there's lack of communication or they don't know how to speak to a principal. There are a lot of Chaldean tutors and other people they can turn to. So that's something that I always tell parents when I do see them at conferences, like, we want to see you, like, speak. We want to hear from you. Because it is a lot of Chaldean students who are having these drugs and selling them.
Okay.
So when you said be part of the community, we want Chaldean parents to speak up.
Maybe you can educate me on that. Why don't they come to conference?
Well, I mean, my friends never came because they said, oh, you have straight A's, you're good.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. What do you think?
I'll tell you why. Language was one of them. They don't think there will be somebody here translating. And I don't have time. Unfortunately, a lot of Chaldeans and mostly the newcomers, they think as long as they help your kids in the morning, send them to school, this is it, they're done with their part as a parent. The rest is mom, dad's work, tons of hours. Moms are at home, either cooking, homework, cleaning, chit-chatting on the phone. And what am I going to do? It's like, it's not a big deal. They don't understand. And a lot of us don't ask because we don't know. But like now when you talk about all of these things, I don't know how I can start a conversation. I have no idea. This is our problem as parents. We came from totally different
Backgrounds. Yes.
I have no idea. What am I going to start? I don't know.
So maybe that gives us a clue of something we need to work on as a community, as a Chaldean community, as a coordination between the schools and the Chaldean community. That's a very real need. We can't leave a section of our population out because they don't speak the language or because they don't have time. We have to make that happen, right? It's the same reason I'm here at 10 to 9 on a Sunday and I work day shift. This is because we have to do this. This is crucial to save our children. So, maybe that's something we need to concentrate on as members in the schools.
But like you said, even if, since maybe, I would love to volunteer for a parent that doesn't speak. I go to every parent-teacher conference. My kids have straight A's, but I go anyway.
Yeah.
I go to all the open houses, even though I know what they're going to say. But if maybe, since maybe you can help start something, I'll be the first to volunteer to go with a family that does not speak English I used to volunteer when I was at the hospital when they needed a translator. I would go. I would be first on your list to do it. Just to get them involved because, like I said, I feel like the parents who are involved are the parents that kind of already know what their kids are doing. So I'll look, Escalita knows who I am. You can look her up, ask, and I'll be the first to go. And I know a lot of parents that would go help out if we can do that.
And maybe that becomes an outreach project for the church,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, I love that. I like that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I'm in the nursery boat because my oldest is 9 years old.
Well, I have a 7-year-old. I'm right there with you.
So when do we actually have to have this talk?
Right now. Yeah. Right? Right now.
What level do you start?
You start with them where they are. Because usually this stuff is in a trailer. I have a trailer that we drag around all over that actually came out of the hair tie incident because I thought, how do I get this information out? And I don't always have somewhere to set up. And so we made this 18-foot landscaping trailer where we have all this stuff set up. And because I wanted to meet people where they were. Right? While I was putting it together, my daughter, who was 6 at the time, came through the trailer. And one of the guys I work with said, "Do you want me to take her with me so she doesn't see it?" And I said, "Why would I not want her to see it?" And he said, "I guess I never thought of that." I'll talk to her about each and every one of these things, because if we can have those conversations, which we do all the time, then when something big happens, maybe she's going to feel like she can come to me and ask, instead of asking one of her girlfriends or asking her boyfriend, God forbid. Oh, please help that boy. Right? It's not going to go well.
We'll say we know Leslie, our boyfriend.
Exactly. But maybe she's going to come to me. So I talk to her all the time. In fact, she wrote a sticky note when I started school this year. She said, "Ma, you don't have to go teach DARE. Just give them this." And it said on it, now she's 7, right? It said, "Don't do drugs. They're stupid, they're illegal, and they'll kill you." I said, see, she's got it. I think she's got it. And I feel good about that, because when it does start to happen, she's going to have that basis of knowledge. So start now. You don't have to start real elaborately, but maybe you talk about cigarettes. I got stories for days. I got stories for days. My next door neighbor's wife passed away this summer from cancer. And we were leaving to go to the funeral, and my next door neighbor was out smoking a cigarette. And Sammy, my daughter's with me, and we're walking to the car, and everybody's somber, and Sammy looks up and she goes, "Mom, is he gonna die?" I'm like, "Sam, stop." She's like, "He's smoking, is he gonna die?" I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have talked to her at that level when she was this little, but she's got the idea. I'm okay with that. I need to teach her about inside voice now, but yeah, we'll be okay. Guys, just talk to them. They're little people. Right? They're little people. We don't have to be embarrassed. It's like I don't have to be embarrassed talking to my Chaldean friends about hookah. We're all people. And we talk about it, and we work on it, and we find the solution together. If I can do anything to help you find your solution, please call me. Okay. Last one. Okay. Again, they'll pull me in all day. Yes, ma'am.
I think the argument that marijuana isn't as dangerous as alcohol.
Okay.
It's a huge argument. So
Okay.
what has been your experience about the effects of marijuana comparing to alcohol? That's why people want to legalize it. They don't think it's as harmful.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the marijuana, like I said, the marijuana that we used to be exposed to was way different now. I used to make the joke that I would take somebody high on marijuana all day long because they never wanted to fight, but that's no longer true. If you have somebody that's high on a very strong sativa brand or sativa blend of marijuana, they do want to fight. So it's a much different effect. I can't speak to the physicality of it, I can't speak to the health effects of it, but I know that the psychology of it is changing. Does that answer your question? Yeah, I have opinions, but again, if I'm doing this, I can't share. Right? Yeah. Yes, ma'am, last one and we'll go.
So I think the way that we can help each other is, I love that we're all here talking about drugs together, but I think we need to teach our young people that it's not cool. They still think it's funny if someone's high. They think it's cool that they made pot brownies. And it starts at home. We should not be listening to rap music thinking it's cool also. Our kids are hearing it and they're following what we're doing. We should not have a glass of wine and drink with our friends because they think that's cool. We have to change so they can change.
That's a good point. We are their first teachers, right? And my dad was an alcoholic. I was raised by 2 addicts. I was raised by 2 alcoholics, and that's why I'm doing what I do today. But they supplied me with alcohol when I was in high school, and I thought it was okay, right? I thought that was everybody, and then when I got older, I thought, wow, that's not really how it goes. I had a lot of relearning to do. We are their first educators. Teach your children what you want them to be when they grow up. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I want to thank all of you guys, and back to what she just said, next month's talk is actually that. Us being the first church, the first school for our kids as parents. And Deacon Perrin is doing that talk, and if you guys have ever heard him speak, he's a great speaker, and that is the exact topic. I want to thank all of you parents for coming, and all the kids. I know it's a school night, but I hope it was worth it. And as a church, as one, as family, put away your chair. Love you guys.